Today I will show you how I made woodblock prints of these playing cards that I had designed. But first, let's go through the history of woodblock printing. Woodblock printing, a technique with roots in ancient China around the 9th century, marked the dawn of mass communication through art. Initially used for textile, this method involved carving a relief image into a wooden block, applying ink and pressing it onto various surfaces. It swiftly spread across East Asia, evolving into a prominent medium for religious texts, playing cards, and art. Japan embraced woodblock prints, or ukiyo-e, during the Edo period, producing iconic works like Hakusai's The Great Wave. The first thing I had to do was to separate different colors into different layers. That way I could easily engrave the negative spaces of each color into a separate board with the laser cutter. Since I had created these artworks in Adobe Illustrator, it was quite an easy task to separate different colors. Before engraving my artwork, I did a test engraving on a scrapboard to see how deep the laser cutter engraves. It didn't engrave as deeply as I wanted to, so I decided to engrave it twice. As you can see, the second engrave did okay. For this project, I used 18 by 24 birch plywoods. It took me forever to engrave, especially because I had to engrave each layer twice. Some layers took up to 2 hours. And to save time, I decided to engrave the surrounding areas of each element and not the areas where there was nothing. After many hours of sitting next to the laser cutter, I had my 5 layers done. So I labeled and arranged them from the darkest color to the lightest. Then it was time to roll ink on the boards. But before that, I had to draw the silhouette of the boards on my paper so I could align all the blocks perfectly. I used Aqua Intaglio ink on Stonehenge paper for this project. Even though I used a small roller to apply ink, I still got some ink on the engraved areas. So I scratched those areas with an X-Acto knife. Now all I had to do was apply ink on the board, align it on the paper, and run it through the press machine, once for each layer. It was a bit nerve-wracking because if I had messed up one layer, I had to do it all over again on a new paper. Lifting the final layer from the paper and seeing how magnificent the print had turned out, I took a sigh of relief and felt like a kingmaker. But we are not done yet. I had to cut the paper. Using my handmade beveled edge ruler, I turned the straight edges of my paper into dactyl edges. Finally, I framed the piece and now it is hanging on my wall. Let me know if you would like to have an original print.